Happy fall, everybody. It smells like fall all over my house. We have the diffusers running with all the fall oils, all our favorite old candle blends when we used to use them. We've switched all to the oils and it smells so good. Is your house smelling like fall? Just give me a second here to wait for a few of you to jump on live as this flows through news feeds. And then I'm gonna dive into a great go-to list of fall toddler activities. For those that don't know, I actually used to be a preschool teacher prior to having my own kids. And I carried a lot of what I learned in my working towards my teaching degree, my bachelor's degree in early childhood education, and then teaching preschool and toddlers and infants in child development centers and preschool programs. And then having my own kids, I brought all those ideas and activities into my house to have fun with my kids. And it was nothing super involved to put together. Lots of really inexpensive, simple supplies to get you started so that anybody on a tight budget or an unlimited budget can have fun with these ideas. So I have 12 fall activities for toddlers for you. And the full blog post with all the details is, of course, linked in the video description like always, so that you can click that when this video is done and get more information and follow the links through to the specific ideas that interest you and would work great for your toddlers. I'd love to know how old your toddlers are, how many toddlers you have in your house. I know some of you are juggling multiple and you're warrior mamas out there for sure. Toddlers really can have so much fun in the fall. Many craft projects are a little too advanced for these little ones, but there is still so much hands-on learning for toddlers to do in this season. These fall activities for toddlers are simple and fun. Like I said, they're some of my favorites that I took from the classroom when I was teaching preschool and working in daycare centers and brought them into my house and used with my kids when they were toddler age. So the first one, of course, is playing with the insides of a pumpkin. We called them pumpkin guts. The inside of a pumpkin makes a great sensory activity for toddlers. Grab an extra pumpkin from the farm if you're out going pumpkin picking. We did pumpkin day on Saturday after the boys had their flag football practice. So we are loaded up with pumpkins here. But even my kids now would love to just explore the insides of a pumpkin and pull the seeds out. So grab an extra. After you get the pumpkin home, cut one open, let your child see what's inside. This is really good early learning when it comes to science and sensory exploration. If you scoop out the insides, place them in a Ziploc bag for a clean sensory play activity. So even if you have little ones or babies doing tummy time, you can put some of the pumpkin guts in a Ziploc bag, seal it up, even tape that seal shut so you know it's not going to pop open. And your baby can use their hands to push and poke and feel from the outside of that bag. You can also put the pumpkin guts into a dish pan or a baking dish so your child can get their hands in them, but it can kind of stay contained on your table. Playing with it outside, of course, is great. If you have a sensory table outside or a water table you can put them in, that would be great. And of course, any mess outside is super easy to clean up compared to inside, right? Toddlers especially love playing with the slimy, cool pumpkin guts. Be careful with really little ones that are still putting a lot in their mouth. You're going to want to watch them very closely like always. But they can touch this too. It's a sensory activity, a fine motor exercise, using those fingers to pull at the guts and the seeds, and science exploration, like I said. Seed counting is great, especially for older toddlers, but exposing kids to numbers and counting early on is great. There's not too early for this. If you're gonna, hey, I have more Cheerios, say I have more Cheerios for you, and here's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even little babies hearing that just builds as they go. So add on a seed activity to the exploration of the pumpkin guts. Have your child pull out as many seeds as they can. You can use the seeds in place of stickers for a sticker counting activity that I have linked. So there's a pumpkin seeds counting activity and a sticker counting activity on the preschool activities page on the blog. We did this for a homeschool preschool activity in the fall with all of my kids because they all did preschool at home. Painting a pumpkin, of course, we all know that. If you're not carving the pumpkin that your child picked or you have an extra, let your child paint the outside of the pumpkin. Tape newspaper to your tabletop or cut open a paper bag from your local grocery store as your drop cloth to protect your surface. Secure the paper to your table with masking tape to keep it clean and easy to clean up. Then your child can use tempera paints and a brush to create their own design on the pumpkin. Younger kids will have fun with this. It's a great playdate idea too if you're able to cover a picnic table outdoors and have all the kids together at the park or the playground or your backyard and have a playdate with, the kids painting pumpkins with your favorite friends. Paint with autumn colors. I really like these seasonal type paintings, but they're still very child-led, child-directed. So it's not necessarily a coloring book or a paint by numbers type activity. It's just providing orange and dark green and red paints and yellow paints, autumn colors, whatever you've got, and letting your child just paint autumn on their paper, paint autumn colors. You can provide these colors or any combination of the list and let them paint fall on their paper. Have extra paintings available to send to grandparents or family as a hello or a little gratitude card. This time of year, we like to start with thankfulness and gratitude early, and doing special activities, of course, it's a great thing to keep in mind every day, of course. But just thinking about sending them, especially in these times where many of you are still very locked down and restricted from who it's recommended that you see. We are not so restricted here in North Carolina, which is lovely, but send them to family and friends as, day brighteners. You can even frame them up and hang them up with your autumn decorations every year. Feeding the birds is fun. There's lots of DIY bird feeder ideas with pine cones and peanut butter, or little wood working projects and kits that you can buy at your local craft store. Even placing the remains of that pumpkin that you played with, right, the pumpkin guts, outside for the birds and squirrels. You could put pieces out on a feeder platform if you have one, and just watch the animals that come by and nibble at it. A fall produce sensory activity is really fun too. This is where you get to kind of pick out all those fun gourds and mini pumpkins when you're picking up your regular pumpkins, and even the littlest ones can explore the fruits of fall. Find the bumpy gourds, pieces of hay, Indian corn, or apples, and put them all in a little basket as a sensory play experience. My oldest daughter, so she's 9 now, was enthralled with a bumpy gourd that we picked up at our favorite orchard and farm market then when we were living in Virginia. I let her just lay in the grass on her tummy and she would touch at the gourd and kind of touched it to her face and didn't really like that very much. But it was a great sensory experience, kept her occupied as an infant so that my toddler son could go play, and both of them got to have their own unique experiences. Fall-themed pretend play is great too. At your local craft store, you can find autumn-colored leaves, plastic pumpkins at the dollar store. I would put some of these pine cones, I would put these in a basket. You can add new elements that are seasonal. My son really liked matching the leaves by color, so finding more of the orange-toned ones, the red ones, and he'd pile them up. But let your child use their imagination to go with pretend play with these items. Create a little pumpkin stand or help decorate their room with these items. A nature walk is always great to see the leaves changing and the different colors. Library time is of course awesome. Our library story time started back up here. How is everything going with you guys where you are? Are you getting access to kids' activities again and library story times? How is that going with the shutdowns? and restrictions where you are. Because I know that's so different for all of us that some of these ideas might have to wait a little bit for you, or you might have to adapt and grab some books from Amazon, or do a drive-by book pickup at your library if they do that, and bring them home instead of spending time in the library. But there's different ways to adapt this to what you can do with your area at this time. I have a couple great activities linked in that blog post in the video description too. One is an apple tree color match. So you take different colored apples and your toddler can match them by color on apple trees. There's also learning games with homemade apple trees. These also make really cute, simple, inexpensive additions to pretend play with little toys or animals. You'll have to check out that blog post and see the details on that, because I don't want to go into depth on every single one of these because it would just be too long of a video. There's a great list of Halloween activities and crafts for toddlers and up, really fun pumpkin decorating ideas. Just lots of really cool hands-on ways for toddlers, even toddlers, to have fun in the fall with it being appropriate, not too difficult for them like some of the little craft projects. I also link in that blog post additional resources for you at Tot School, at Spit Up and Sit Ups, and at Hands On As We Grow. So you'll have a multitude of fall-themed toddler activities to check out. Grab and add a few into your weeks here while the weather's starting to cool down, and we might be needing to play inside a little bit more during those cooler times of the day. What's your favorite activity so far that you've tried out with your toddler as the weather's gotten cooler? That's Mom Chat Monday for this Monday, and I will see you guys next week. Have fun.